Hi, I'm Novel Mike, and this is my opinion. So let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. Oddly enough, it is his 25th anniversary, and somehow, despite all the odds and all the really, really terrible recent games, he is still going strong with a really passionate and sometimes insane fan base. But regardless, one thing that fans have been asking for a long time is an old 2D Sonic game that's like the old games. They tried to do that with Sonic 4 and it just didn't function well, it didn't play well. It didn't really feel like Sonic 4 despite using the number on it. And so essentially, Sega had this big party at San Diego Comic Con this last weekend for its 25th anniversary of Sonic. And they have been teasing a new game announcement, and they actually showed two. The first one being Sonic Mania, which is essentially it is an old 2D Sonic game designed with somewhat newer graphics. It definitely looks a lot better animation, that kind of thing, than the old pixel art, but it looks really good. And the idea essentially seems like it is going to blend like old levels that are reimagined and new levels together. Not sure if it's going to be like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, or just Sonic 1 and the new levels, or how it's going to work, or if it's going to actually include like old levels from the old games, or if they just use like the art style of those and make new levels based on that. Remains to be seen. We don't have that much information yet. But the trailer they showed, which I will begin playing anywhere on this played at some point soon, really does look good. And the main thing for me that made me excited for this is they've got Christian Whitehead working on it. So for those who don't know, when they came out with a mobile version of Sonic 2, this guy worked on it, and eventually he convinced them that to add a new zone to it, or technically a zone that was canceled. Way back when ROMs were really popular, someone dumped a beta ROM of Sonic 2, and on it, it actually had a half-finished version of a zone called Hidden Palace Zone. And essentially, it was a completely new stage that had never been before, but he finished it, included a new boss battle with Robotnik at the end, and then put it out into the ROM with a special, or not into the ROM, into the mobile game, and so people could play it. And I think they've actually put that in the PC version now too. I'm not sure. I would have to double check that. Maybe that's something that people can add to it or something. I don't know. But either way, the guy knows Sonic, old Sonic games like it's the back of his hand. He understands how they were programmed. He understands how they work. That's how he was able to make that, and that's why he worked on those ports. So the fact that he's attached to this project gives me a significant amount of hope, because he understands what fans want, because he himself is a fan. And I think it shows a lot of goodwill on Sega's part, because they do understand that this guy gets it. And so what they showed of this game, they didn't show a lot, but they did confirm Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are playable. They talked about old zones. They showed some remixed areas of old zones. They showed new zones, new boss battles, that kind of thing. And it looks really good. It was surprising to me that after all these years, Sega might actually be listening. Between this and then how they updated Steam recently for their Sega Genesis / Mega Drive collection, where people can actually add patches of ROMs now to actually enhance the original games. They are showing a lot of good community value, which has been something that they have been sorely lacking for a long time. Modern Sega, up until recently, essentially has been just mismanaging everything about the company, between how they've been just running, taking down videos to promote other videos with the Shining Force series, to creating those a couple years ago, to Sonic Boom being rushed out in a completely unfinished mess, and that kind of thing. And so this gives me hope that we might actually see a good Sonic game. But they still weren't done, and at the very end of the show, they announced what essentially, it was a short CG trailer, which is probably playing right now as you listen to me. It was a short CG trailer, and essentially it seems like it's Sonic Generations 2. They just said they didn't call it Generations 2, but it was old Sonic, it was new Sonic together, fighting some robots. Looks like there was maybe a bit of concept of gameplay in it, but it remains to be seen what that game is going to be. Generations was probably the most well-received modern Sonic game in recent memory, so that's really good. And I give them props for showing both games. Unfortunately, both games are actually missing the 25th anniversary, both coming out next year. And also interesting thing to note is they did confirm the 3D Sonic game, the Generations 2 game for NX, which still hasn't been announced yet. And they didn't confirm Sonic Mania for it, though, which I thought was interesting, and not Wii U either, which, considering the last several Sonic games were a partnership with Nintendo, and they are putting the 3D Sonic game out on there, I don't get why they won't be doing that as well, but maybe just an oversight. We'll see. It would be smart of them to launch that game on NX as well, especially if it's coming out, spring next year when the NX is supposed to launch as well. But anyway, for the first time in a long time, I am moderately hopeful for Sonic. There is the whole talk about Sonic, fan base getting into a trap where a game looks good, then it comes out and it's not very good. But at least for the people involved with this Sonic Mania game, there is reason to actually be hopeful for it, because the people that are working on it, at the very least Christian Whitehead, I don't know the other teams as well, but the guy knows Sonic. They showed a new move in that trailer, the drop dash. I would bet money on that he was the one who thought of that, and essentially what that was is when you're in there, you can immediately drop to the ground and then you start spin dashing right away, which is something you've never been able to do in a 2D Sonic game. And that feels like a very technical, like speedrun kind of thing, which is something he would pay attention to. So anyway, that's all I've got to say on that. What do you think of the new Sonic trailers? Do they look good to you? Do you think that they're going to be any good, or is Sonic still doomed forever? I'm Novel Mike. That was my opinion. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.